Welcome to Cannon Fodder.
Boom!
that's a reinforced boom after
Yes.
we won't get too much into it, but after Backy over there, that's Dan Aulbach. I'm calling him Backy for his hockey nickname now. He had a little procedure,
Yes.
clear out the sinuses, and
I got a little more wind in my sails, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. So your booms from now on
They're going to be bigger.
Yeah, bigger, louder. They did that at Nationwide Arena a little while back. They didn't think the boom was big enough, so they just they added a little bit more to it, and that's why it's even as louder than it's ever been now. So
Yeah,
that's you on this. So good boom. Welcome, like as I said, to Cannon Fodder. Today is March 3rd, Tuesday, March 3rd. The Blue Jackets have played 3 games in their return from the NHL's break for the Winter Olympics. They are 1-1 in those games.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should have won all 3 games.
Yep.
Definitely should have won the first 2, and lucky to not lose the third one last night on March 2nd at Madison Square Garden in New York. So they are still, Dan, in the playoff race right now. I think they're 3 points out of the second wild card as we go into a game for the Blue Jackets tonight at Nationwide Arena against the Nashville Predators.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very fortunate from that aspect. But that kind of sets the stage for where we are right now. Zach Werenski did not play in that game. As we all know now, he won a gold medal, big part in the play, which we're going to talk about.
Yes.
For the United States at the Olympics. Exciting moment, all that good stuff. So, that's kind of where we're at right now with the Blue Jackets. It's been almost 4 weeks since we last podcasted because
it's been a while.
Yeah, Olympics and personal stuff and everything else.
Yeah.
So we're gonna quickly run through a lot of this stuff today, get people caught up, and we're going to start looking toward the end of the season because it's going to come fast and furious.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, and I think we both agree on this, is that the Olympics were fantastic. It was probably, let's say, okay, I've been alive for 22 years. It was my favorite Winter Olympics by far.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I just think with I'm at an age where I really enjoy. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I worked for NBC Olympics for a period of time, so I had to some stake in the game. But I just thought this time difference was good. It wasn't overly aggressive. It wasn't like in Beijing where you wake up and everything already happened and all all the live events were bad. I think Rob mentioned this in his column, his grouchy column, but. I hope he listens to this. But no, I think this time difference was good. I thought the American resurge was really something. Obviously, we're going to talk hockey. The hockey was obviously the highlight for many people, but you could go down the list and, figure skating got a lot of attention this year. And just overall, it was a lot of good
stories. A lot of good stories.
A lot of good stories, but hockey was for me as well the pinnacle of that, just because of that 3-day stretch where you wake up, it's the afternoon, you watch the woman win, a great game, and then 3 days later you wake up I set my alarm for 8:05. I get out of bed. This is while I'm in recovery for surgery. I wake up, I turn on the game, and it was a great game. It was just a brilliant game, and our very own Zach Werenski was heavily involved, which was cool.
Absolutely. The preliminary rounds for the men's and women's were basically snoozers for me. The women playing Canada, they absolutely trounced Canada in the preliminary rounds. And it was only interesting for that fact because you almost never see those two teams have that kind of a one-sided game. And it told you a lot about how talented this U.S. women's team really is and how stacked they are. And you're right. So then you fast forward to the gold medal game. Canada does everything it can in there to make sure that doesn't happen again. They play a real almost like Finland, a defensive type of style, and they're leading 1-0 the whole game. And it's just, the way that game ended was incredible too. The medal rounds for the guys was really good. Like it was exciting hockey. It's really interesting because now that the NHL's back, I'll watch NHL hockey, and NHL hockey is still the best hockey that's out there. As far as professional leagues and everything. But this is best on best. When you get teams that are stacked with NHL like all-stars, basically.
Yeah.
And it's not an all-star game. It is an actual hockey game in which those players want to win. There's really nothing like that in this sport anywhere. Like it is like that gold medal game, even though it was very defensive and everything, it was so fast. I mean,
oh my goodness,
up and down the ice at breakneck speed, and the women's game was as well. Like I've actually started watching because of the Olympics and how much I enjoyed watching the women's tournament as well. I watch more when I can PWHL games as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to learn about that league, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more. And who was it the other night? I watched Vancouver and Toronto. Play Vancouver Golden Eyes and the Toronto Scepters play, and it was a really exciting game. I mean, I shouldn't sound surprised by that. These are elite hockey players. So I just think it's fantastic that we have like men's professional hockey, women's professional hockey. That are both. If you like hockey, I mean, there's really never been
what a time.
Yeah,
what a time. And
yeah, you combine that with all the methods of being able to watch it too.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I think, and to your point, it's not that like women's hockey is like suddenly exciting. It's like there's this product and like it's just not marketed as well as these other products. And it's personally like,
right?
as far as women's sports go, I thought that was like, I don't know. It just is such a good product on screen. Obviously, so I had a little more stake in the game for the women's matches just because I was watching Joy Dunn, Ohio State's very own. I was kind of just monitoring, I wasn't, this was during our working hours too. But I was monitoring how she was doing, what playing time she was getting. It was really cool to see her. She was starting fourth line at the beginning of the tournament and ended up starting with Hillary Knight in the final game, which is just an incredible story. Her plus minus was, like everyone on the U.S. women's team was really good.
Like
yeah, I think she got 2 goals, 3 assists. So that was really cool to see. But man, some of those skaters in the U.S. team, Caroline Harvey is like lightning fast. Layla Edwards is going to be a future just like bruiser type forward. Obviously getting to watch Hillary Knight play, even on Canada, Marie-Philippe Poulin. She was fantastic, and that was the reason why they were in that final, because in the Four Nations the US whooped them 4 times. I think the goal differential was something like 18-0, or 18-1. So to see that last game be competitive was really great for the sport. The men's game for me, like, I obviously, like, we get to watch a lot of NHL. You more than me a little bit, or a lot more. But seeing like some breakout stars, like obviously I've watched a lot of McDavid. He is a heat-seeking missile. When he gets the puck anywhere in the defensive zone, he just, like, his momentum just picks up and up and up, and then suddenly he's at the offensive the opposing goal. Celebrini was brilliant.
The puck never comes off the stick,
It never does. Celebrini is going to be a problem for years to come. He is fantastic. I thought he was easily my second favorite player to watch in the whole tournament. And we'll focus on Z, because I thought Z played a great tournament. And obviously there are politics that get played into this, unfortunately, that prevent, some of the better players in the world to get on the higher lines. Obviously they won, so it doesn't matter. But when Z was out there, they played better offensively. I will fully stick to that. So
absolutely. And going back to the McDavid comment about how the puck never leaves the stick, it did leave his stick one time when he didn't want it to, and that was when he had a breakaway against Connor Hellebuck in the gold medal game. And can you, first of all, 2 things on that? Like, can you imagine how I mean, no, it's Hellebuck, so he's one of the world's,
Right.
if not the world's best goalies, one of them. But most people in that situation with Connor McDavid like bearing down at you at about 7,000 miles an hour, stick handling. Imagine how much your pulse has got to be racing at that point, seeing that and having him come at you. You know who it is. So for Hellebuck to stand in there and, basically what happens is McDavid just loses the puck. He stick handles his way out of a scoring chance. I could not believe my eyes. I thought for sure it was going to be a shot or some crazy deke, in the low slot, and then Hellebuck's going to be spread out, and boom, he's going to tuck it in.
Yeah,
it just went off his stick, and that tells you right there why. I mean, hockey is just a crazy sport because that is by far the best player on the planet, and he struggled in that game a little bit for him.
There were three, that I would say there were three like, oh my goodness, did that just happen moments that went wrong for Canada. That the Nathan MacKinnon shot on the left side of the net, which I feel bad because that will haunt him the rest of his life. There was absolutely no one in front of the net besides him and Hellebuck, who was on the right side of the net because he couldn't get over fast enough. It should have been a one-timer, should have been anywhere near the net, pushed it way left. And then I was just going to say, like, also MacKinnon, when Werenski beat him to the puck in overtime, I was shocked that Z got there that fast. In that situation, in 3-on-3, when there's so much open ice, and obviously, like, they're gonna back check or forecheck, excuse me, and who's open? Jack Hughes. And that was just a shocking moment. It all unfolded kind of like that overtime goal in the women's game, where it's just like, wow, that happened fast.
Right.
Unbelievable moments and blunders from the Canadian team.
For sure. So. And like that, go into that golden goal moment for the U.S. men's. I know it's 3-on-3 hockey, and there was all this talk afterward, like, well, that's not real hockey and this and that. Well, first of all, I didn't hear anybody from Canada complaining about 3-on-3 when they beat the United States in 3-on-3 in the Four Nations face-off, or when they won in 3-on-3 against Czechia, and they would not have complained if MacKinnon hits that shot into the open net. That said, that play was such a hockky play. Like the whole thing from start to finish was just, if you like hockey, it's just so good. Like Werenski brings that puck out of his own corner, the left wing, or it'd be the right wing corner for him, heading up ice, and he sees Jack Hughes, tries to backhand him a nice pass, and flubs it. He flubs it, and it barely gets over there, and that's what makes MacKinnon decide, or not MacKinnon, sorry, Makar decide, hey, I'm gonna, there's the puck, and then he gets caught in between. Like if he just goes for the puck, I think he steals it, and I think it's a 2-on-0.
Yeah.
With him and McDavid on Hellebuck. Like, good luck with that situation, right?
But you already got lucky there like 3 other times that night. So,
for sure. And like, how many times are you going to test that? And then, like, if I'm getting them all my mixed, Makar, if Makar just goes for the puck, I think he probably gets it, but he gets caught up, and it looks like he gets in between. He's thinking, do I go puck? Do I try and hit the player? So he tries to hit.
Yeah, the margins were fine in that situation. Like it was like he could have done either, and obviously just thought about it to like a split second long.
Like a split second too long, just long enough for Jack Hughes to tap that puck all the way out in like to the other blue line. Yeah. And then that gives Zach Werenski a decision to make. And if you watch it, like I saw it live as I was watching it, I'm like, oh, he's in my head. I'm thinking he's got to make a decision here. Do I actually go after this puck? As you mentioned, like it looked like he might not be able to beat MacKinnon there, or do I like kind of pull up? Because if I go for it and don't get it, I'm out of position, and they're going back the other way with numbers with 3 of the best players in the world.
And I know it's 3-on-3 hockey too, but he's a defender by trade. Like they are not supposed to go that far. I know it's 3-on-3. They're not supposed to go that far deep into the offensive zone and fight for a puck like that.
He was the first guy up the ice. Like he turned himself into a forward. So, and then the other thing is, like, I slowed this down so many times where MacKinnon comes over, and this is Nathan MacKinnon. Like people have to realize and remember how freaking good this guy is. Like when it comes to centers in the entire planet, you have Connor McDavid, and then you have Nathan McKinnon, and then you have everybody else after that. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Like he is that good. So he comes over and he clearly beats Werenski to the puck. Like he's already into like a back skating stride, and he's going to try and scoop the puck and take it back and go the other way because he thinks he's got Werenski beat. Like if you look at his face, he thinks for sure, okay, I'm just going to take this back like this, and I'm going to send a stretch pass to Connor McDavid, and off we go. And then Z just kind of reaches his long reach wingspan in there and takes it away from him. There was nobody on earth more surprised and more shocked than Nathan McKinnon that he did not get that puck and that Werenski beat him and then bumped him off there, and then has the wherewithal to quickly turn and just send a perfect pass over because he knows that a guy that he's known for a long time, Jack Hughes, who he skates with in the summer, he knows Jack is over there and gives him that pass. That was, I mean, the whole thing was just incredible to watch. And then, Hughes said he didn't see the puck go in. Werenski said he did, but he didn't know how to react initially.
Yeah, they don't teach you that
really
one.
Cool. Yeah, it was a great moment for U.S. hockey. And I'll finish my comments on this one by saying this. This is the second time now going back to the Four Nations, and I understand why they do it, but the TV wants us to believe this was like the miracle again, right? Because the miracle was so, and it was a miracle. It was incredible, and there was a reason it was called the miracle.
Yes.
This was not a miracle. This was not a miracle. This was, if anything, what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically a reward.
Destiny. It was
destiny. It is destiny, and it's reward for what the U.S. did, which is incredibly smart. Years ago, they decided to start the United States National Team Development Program, and they put it in Michigan, and they basically take what they feel are the best players. I mean, when they're like 13, 14 years old, and they get to go and play full seasons of hockey together as a US TDP program team. That's where Werenski came from. That's where Larkin came from. That's where both Hughes brothers came from. Like pretty much all that team. I mean, Hellebuck didn't. He had his own path, but pretty much that whole team has been playing together for a very long time, or at least they know each other from the program. So this was the culmination of a very wise idea by USA Hockey to say, how can we compete with Canada? Because Canada is such a freaking powerhouse, and they always will be. But if you don't do something like what the U.S. does, you got no shot. And you know what I mean? And so this was not a miracle. This was a culmination of years and years and years of the U.S. getting better and better and better. They've won everything. They won the men's world championship finally last spring. They've won a number of men's world junior championships, and also they got the women's program going, right? Like that's all through USA Hockey as well. So hockey in this country is doing really well, and it's in large part due to the USA Hockey program.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like I think one of the things that really aggravates me is people compare it to the Miracle and don't even know that the Miracle wasn't the gold medal game. Like it was
exactly right.
Yeah.
They had to beat Sweden, I think. Or no, Finland.
Yes, it was Sweden. Fun fact about that game was Al Michaels' second time calling hockey ever. When he made that.
Oh, really?
Call. Yeah, he had never. Wow. He might have called. I think he said he called one game before that. That's just an all timer. But yeah, I completely agree. It's just like it's a culmination, and it would be a total disservice to the world if the NHL doesn't get involved in every Olympics to come, because, and I know, like, obviously the one high profile injury did happen, Crosby. Who knows how long he'll be out for?
Fiala's out for the rest of the season. So
too
for the Kings. So, and actually, I think there's been a number of them since they've gotten back. But to your point, totally agree. Like and I think the players would agree with it as well. Like if they're willing to take the risk of the injuries, I think that it should still happen, because
100%.
it's just so good for the sport. It's just so good for hockey. People love watching it.
I mean, think about the stakes of in 4 years. Russia will probably be back, right? And there's a number of Russian hockey players. I don't know in what sense will it be like Russia the country? Will it just be like individual players, whatever?
Right.
You know, Russian Olympic athletes, ROC, I think that's what it was, or something.
Right.
It would be a total disservice to fans if we didn't get to see that element, along with like Canada's only going to get better. Like they're not getting worse. Like they got Celebrini. Schaefer was left off the Canadian roster, which we saw the other night. He's going to be one of the best players in the world soon, if not already. Yeah. So, and obviously like the Hughes brothers will still be around. This sport is only getting better. It would be a total disservice to not have it in future years. And that's my closing statement on hockey at the Olympics. I think it is important. Obviously, Werenski got roped into this whole DC trip, which was the headline, unfortunately, for the week after the Olympics. It's kind of like this is like the
along with the them laughing at Trump's joke about the women's team, which was unfortunate as well. The only comment I have there is, it was a little disappointing that it took a few days for the guys to start apologizing for how hurtful that was clearly. But in the moment, I mean, I guess I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I wish they would have had a different reaction. But at the same time, they're right off the ice. They're having a great time.
I could not agree more with what you're about to say.
And then the other thing is, how many times have we been at Thanksgiving dinner or wherever it is, and the crazy relative or a friend or somebody else says something kind of like off color, and rather than like standing up and just being like, oh, that's uncalled for, and making it even more awkward, we just kind of like laugh and hope they stop talking. It's like one of those things. I kind of feel like a little bit of those things were at play there, not excusing it at all.
No.
But I just kind of like, if you think about it, like, well, we've kind of all probably been in a certain situation where you're like, I should have said something, but I didn't. Because it would have been even more awkward kind of a thing. I just kind of wish they would have stopped talking. But yeah, the disappointment for me on that was just, I kind of wish they would have, maybe like realized how hurtful it was to the women's team, and just issued a sincere apology right away, and then just say that they'll try and do better next time or whatever.
Yeah. So. I think my approach for this was like, just thinking back, like obviously a trip to the White House has just become the most polarized, political statement, where it's not like, I don't think it's even worth it for a team to do it regardless of who is in the office. Like it's like, I don't know, obviously politics and sports intertwine.
That's unfortunate too, because how the guys are right. The players are right. Like how often do you get invited to the White House? How you're probably never going to get invited to like the State of the Union again, that kind of thing. So they're right in that aspect, but you are also right in that we've become such a divided country politically that no matter what you do, either way, no matter who's in office, whatever,
it's a statement.
It is, and it's also going to be, whether you intend it to be or not, it's going to be taken that way by a very large number of people in this country, and it's going to cause, it's going to ruffle some feathers, a lot of feathers. Yeah. So, honestly, when I thought about that one, kind of wish that they would have also declined the invitation politely, but then said, hey, or maybe work with the White House and say, hey, after our pro seasons are over, would you guys mind having us come over then? Kind of thing. So that way it
felt rushed.
Well, it did. And then the men's and women's, because the women are playing as well. Most of those players in the Olympics are playing in the PWHL anyway. They have a lot of, as they said, they have obligations. Yeah. So, making an offer to whoever wants to come after the seasons are over, set a weekend or whatever, and then you have members of the men's and women's team both represented there. I think that may have been a better way to handle it, but everyone got swept up in the emotion of the whole thing, and what happened happened. So.
I appreciate Werenski's response in the end, because you know, you're so swept up. I think it's not every time you win the Olympics that the director of the FBI is in the room with you, which was odd. And
It's very
I'm
odd.
not going to talk about that anymore.
No, it was just
Very odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing, I agree. It's like, it's just there's a better way to approach that. I think you could pull all of the like visit to the White House, State of the Union, whatever. You could put all of that aside and identify the issue was that joke that was made. It was abhorrent. It was ridiculous, and has no place in a modern sports
world. It was like
world.
Something right out of the 1950s.
It has it has no place in the modern sports world. Everything you say and do will be. It's under a microscope, no matter how the players react. And that's why I said, like, they're put in a situation where it's like, like that sucks. You got to react to that immediately. You just won, like all of that. The other thing I will say though, is from the press circuit and the women's players' responses too. Like, I really liked what Hillary Knight said. I think she, directly as the captain of the team, directly called it out.
She's so
but yes. And then supporting players on the women's team were like, hey, our relationship with the men's team is good. Like they had good, it sounds like they had great times in the Olympic Village after both of their wins. Obviously, there's a great photo of Megan Keller and Jack Hughes, both Michigan born players. And it's like, that's a great moment. They did the whole SNL, circuit. I think they did Jimmy Fallon as well. So I think in the end, it's just going to put more eyes on hockey. I think you have some identifiable stars on both the men's and women's side. And I think people like to see that there's unity. In my opinion, I think the majority of fans would like to see unity between the men's and women's teams. Absolutely. And that is more important than any joke made. That was ridiculous. I just want to see those teams get along and celebrate each other's wins. And you'd also, and the final thing I will say is, like, you're not an idiot. You don't have to be an idiot to know that, like, obviously NHL players also have political opinions, and some favor people in power than others. Like, that's their choice. Like it's their choice, like, for sure. They make millions of dollars.
To be able to have our opinions either way, even if we vehemently disagree or mildly disagree, that kind of thing. So
obviously, like, there's politics that play into it. And what it boils down to is that joke was bad and the players are good now. And they had a good relationship. So, well,
the other thing we're going to move on to the Blue Jackets here in a second. But the other thing is, like I was telling my wife the other day, like in 1980, did you watch the documentary on Netflix by any chance about
the Miracle doc?
Miracle one?
I haven't yet.
It's so good. Like, definitely do it. It's really good. And one of the things I liked about it was, like, they used a lot of footage that I have literally never seen before. Like, press conference footage from, like, after they won, and they're like all sitting at this table and they're like drinking beers and like basically just shooting the bull. And but you know what? Like, we didn't have social media back then. We didn't have all, like, there wasn't a million eyes. Now, you had a lot of the same political stuff at play, but you didn't hear a lot. Like, if that comment had been made back then, I don't know if they hear it even. And so, like, these guys are under the biggest, as you mentioned, the biggest spotlight microscope ever. On the one hand, on the one side, it's like, you got to know that if you're one of the players as well. But on the other hand, it's like, well, there's never been a time in history where everything has been so closely watched and so and judged and everything as well. So
J. Edgar Hoover was not not hanging around in the 1980 locker room.
That we know of. He may have bugged it. I don't know.
Honestly, respect to him if he did that. If I was director of the FBI, I'd want to hang out with the U.S. hockey team too.
There you go. All right, we'll talk some Blue Jackets hockey here. We're going to buzz through this.
Yes,
kind of went through, but they have been back for 3 games. In their first 3 games, I think I mentioned this earlier, they lost 2. They won March 2nd. That'd be last night, Monday night in New York against the Rangers. What a crazy game that was. I mean, they're up. They build a 4-0 lead. And then, and of course, like, I have to take blame on every time that they blow one of these leads, because they build these big leads. And, we were supposed to have something at the buzzer, like, as soon as the horn sounds, we're supposed to be like within, a couple minutes they want something up on the site. So that means you got to start pre-writing things, and you have to like start, making assumptions, and it's always dangerous to make assumptions. I had my entire bleeping story written last night after 2 periods because it was 4-0, and the Rangers looked like they had no interest in being out there at all. Like, do you know that I was just talking to today? Do you know the Rangers have not won a game in regulation on their home ice since November 24th?
Yeah, I don't.
99 days since a regulation win.
And despite that, I don't think I've seen a Corsi scale go like a roller coaster as much as it did. Oh, yeah. Like, it literally just shot straight up in the middle, halfway through the second period. Like, I don't know what like Gabe Perreault was like doing during the game, if he had like smelling salts, but he was unbelievable. And like, but it wasn't more that the Rangers were playing unbelievable hockey. It's the fact that the Blue Jackets could not defend for their lives, and obviously there were some goalie mishaps. But wow, what a crazy game!
Oh, it was nuts. And so like when they and I mean, I did the nut. So it was the 18th time that the Blue Jackets have
I saw that.
A third period lead this year. Is the 10th time they've blown a multi-goal lead in the third period. First 4-goal one of the season. I mean, just some of the numbers are incredible. And when you listen to Rick Bowness talk in his post game last night, they put it up on the team's YouTube channel, and I listened to the whole interchange with the reporters who were on the road there. I mean, it sounded like a guy who had just been like, oh. Like, so everything I heard about this team is true. Like, it was like one of those moments. I mean, like, he even had one where it was kind of like, they're nice guys and they try hard. That's kind of what it was. And I was like,
he sounded like
he couldn't believe it. I don't think I think in that moment he still was like, I can't believe what I just watched. Like,
he kind of sounded like, and this is not insinuating, he sounded like he lost a giant bet and was like doing this press conference and was like, I can't believe this is happening.
Right. Well, and the crazy thing is, Dean Evison sounded the same exact way when he was here, when it first happened to him. And Pascal Vincent before him sounded the same way 2 years ago. Yeah. 2 years ago, people have already forgotten this, I think, or some people who were scarred by it haven't. They won this game too. 2 years ago, I was sitting in Toronto. Yeah. They were going through all these same issues 2 years ago, all of them. And like a lot of the same players on the roster then are still on the roster now. Mm-hmm. They're in Toronto, team they're supposed to lose against, and they just start waxing the Maple Leafs. It's like 5-0. It is literally 5-0, 5-0 starting the third period in that game. And the third period starting, I'm sitting next to Ken Campbell from the Hockey News. At that time, he was their main columnist, and he still writes for them. Long-time Hockey News guy. Great, awesome guy. And I'm sitting right next to him, and I say, Kenny, I was like, buckle up, buddy, because this is about to get to be a pretty rough ride. And he just like starts laughing, like, it's 5-0, Hedge. It's 5. He's like, are you seeing the scoreboard? It's 5. I go, trust me. I'm like, I've seen this team. Like, this game ain't over. And sure enough, it was like, like they, just goal after goal. And the Maple Leafs invariably, tie it up at the in the last minute on a 6-on-5 goal. 5-goal lead gone. Now they win that one in overtime. I think it was Kent Johnson. Yeah. Just like, Marchenko won it for the Jackets last night in overtime. But Ken Campbell finally turned me at the end of the night and he goes, how did you know that was going to happen? And I said, Ken, if they needed to score 8 goals, they would have scored 8 goals. Like, if it would have been 10. This team does not know how to close out. And that was 2 years ago. I do feel like they've made some strides since then. Yeah. But, like, here we are again against a team that is down and out. They got booed off the ice by their own fans. They're dead last in the Eastern Conference. They're clearly playing out the string. And you have a 4-0 lead on them, and it disappears. Like, it's unacceptable. You can't.
Okay. So my approach to last night's is like, you have to take it with a little grain of salt because there was no Werenski. Like, sure,
agreed.
Right?
That's a great point.
You have to take it with. Now, I had a problem with the broadcast yesterday because, and like, love those guys. They were talking about how, like, the other defenders get to get more involved when Werenski's not around. It's like, well, there's a reason they're not getting involved as much, and it's because Werenski is he's everywhere on the ice, and this is when they were up 2-0. Yep. And it's the difference when he is obviously the difference when he is on and off the ice is insane. I mean, they are just the pucks in the blue zone. They are not defending nearly as hard as they should have been, and that was why Peralt scored. And that goal was just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, oh man, like they had problems in transition yesterday. They had problems just keeping the puck on their sticks yesterday. But also in this stretch, this weird 3-game stretch that honestly, like, it has flipped on its head from their 7-game win streak where everything was going right. The first goal that Arvidsson scored again for the Bruins, that goal was like he literally got the puck off the boards, turned around, one time shot it, and no one looked ready. Elvis was getting back to the net. Lundstrom was like in front of the blue area, like did not know where the puck was, and suddenly the puck hits off him and goes in the goal.
Hits his stick, hit him right in the blade.
Yeah,
like he basically it was a beautiful deflection, but into his own net.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I was like,
I don't think he could believe it.
No, I don't think I think it's a question, like, even with Werenski on the ice, I think it's just a question of being ready. Like, the energy has to. When they were winning these games, they had this energy behind them that was unshakable. And in that third period, they kept that energy. And man, it was lost in this 3-game stretch. You played 2 good teams that you're chasing, the Bruins, you're playing in the Islanders, and they suddenly, both of those teams have this energy behind them in both those games. I mean, it's been a tough 3-game stretch to watch. Thank goodness they got a point yesterday. Marchenko played a great game. He looks incredible in space, something they have to do more often.
Yeah. Dan, was anybody in your life smart enough, or at least kind enough, I should say, to allow you to watch the movie Tommy Boy?
No, but it's one of my dad's favorites, and it's the Who movie, right? It's using the Who like soundtrack, right?
I think I don't
Pinball Wizard and all that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a scene in Tommy Boy that is one of my all-time favorites, and it reminds me of this Blue Jackets team going back the past 3 years. And that is, like, Tommy Boy is the main character. He's trying to like help save his deceased father's auto parts store, and he has to make sales and things like that.
Yeah.
But he's kind of a buffoon a little bit, whatever. And he keeps screwing up the sales like over and over and over again. And they go to this restaurant, him and David Spade. He's the other main character. And they sit down at this restaurant, and the waitress comes over, and he starts to explain to her, like, he's really furious, and he's basically got like a roll in his hand, and he's like, "This is my sale, like right here." And he just goes on and he's like, "Oh, I love my sale. My sale's so great. It's amazing." And then he just starts like poking holes in the thing and tearing it apart. And he's like, "I kill my sale. I kill it. It's naughty. It's terrible." Yeah. And anybody who's watched Tommy Boy will know exactly what I'm talking about. That is the Blue Jackets, like right now. Like, they get these leads. They love it, having the lead, and then it just starts going away on them, and they have no idea how to save it, and it just disintegrates. And then a lot of times it just goes to overtime, and that's kind of like a coin flip of who's going to win the game. They've got to figure this out. Like, they keep talking about playoffs, and I think they can make the playoffs. They do.
Yeah.
But you're really damaging your if you can't, you're damaging your opportunities to get there if you can't close games out. But even let's just say you get into the playoffs, if they have not fixed this situation, because what it ultimately is that you're now playing when a team scores against the Blue Jackets and they have a lead. Now that is a pressure situation. It's the highest pressure situation you can have. The playoffs are nothing but pressure situations. So if you get in there and you have not figured out how to play against pressure and how to like deal with it successfully, you're going to get swept out of the playoffs in 4 straight games. Like, it's going to happen. So this is a really major issue. Like, I came away from that game last night, and ultimately, did they get what they wanted? Yes, they got 2 points.
Yeah.
They stayed. Thank you, Marchenko. They stayed. A great pass by Damon Severson in overtime to create a 2-on-1 for Marchenko and Fantilli. Fantastic work there. Full marks. And you got 2 points. You stayed in the race, but that shouldn't have happened. It should never in a million years have gotten to overtime, and they know this, and they've got to figure this out. 18 blown third period leads is just unacceptable.
It's insane.
Well, 2 years ago, Dan, when Pascal Vincent was here, I believe I think it was 16. They had 16 blown third period leads, and that was cited as one of the biggest reasons why he was not kept around. And that's how Dean Everson got in here, because they couldn't close out games. And then Dean Everson got fired because they couldn't close out games. And now Rick Bowness looks like a guy who wants to get back on his boat and sail off into the sunset. I
don't blame him.
It's on the players at this point. They have got to figure out how to play with leads late in games and make them stand up. They just have to do it. It's on them now. They've gotten good coaching. You can't blame the coaching anymore. These guys have to figure this out. But I will say, you made a fantastic point there. Having Werenski last night sure would have helped a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah.
And he calms things down. He is a guy who really, like, when things are starting to spiral out of control, you can give him the puck and he's going to figure some stuff out for you.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I thought about it last night and I'm like, I don't think that game gets to overtime. It might get to 4-3, but I think if Z's on the ice, it probably ends at about 4-3 and they score an empty net goal or something.
Yeah. Or they score another, or they
score another one without. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those two things, but it's just, good Lord. I mean,
I thought I was losing my mind yesterday when the broadcast was talking about more people are getting involved in the ice when he's not. And I was like, is this a positive or negative point? Is it just like a neutral kind of observation because there's nothing else to talk about? It's a game against the Rangers. Right. So I just kind of let that be. And I was like, I think it's more, I don't think it's like a positive. I don't think they think it's a positive. I think it's just like, more players do have to get involved. And the problem we're seeing is that none of those defenders had a positive plus minus rating yesterday.
No
one looked great. Or again, no one looked really great on forechecking. No one looked really great around the goal.
The second half of the game, in the first half when they're getting 4 goals, they look great.
Obviously,
how does this happen where it just flips on its ear like this? It's that's what they've got to figure out, is how to keep playing the way that they played to start that game. That. They just have to figure it out. All right, so I'm gonna move on really quick. We'll do this one. I just wrote about this the other day. Lineup shake up a little bit. Bonus has pulled Kent Johnson out of the lineup. Basically said that he watched all of his goals and the goals that he set up last year. I mean, Kent Johnson had such a breakout year last year. In fact, over the summer, I was going to write this. And maybe I will eventually when he gets back on track. I don't think it's an if. I do think it's a win. But he was so good last year in comparison to the first couple of years of his career that it started to look like they had their own Mitch Marner kind of developing here. A playmaker who can also score goals. He was really, really good last year. Almost a point per game guy. Dealt with a shoulder injury earlier, or else he may have been a point per game guy. So this year, to see the stark drop off, I think it's 6, 12, 18 for him in stats right now. It's just, you got to have more out of Kent Johnson, and they have to figure out how to get him more space and how to help him get more time and space to make plays. Because and they also, I think, have to figure out a more consistent line mate for him. Center
that's exactly I completely agree because I think we've gotten to a point where first off, Fantilli's been playing great hockey lately. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's skating really fast. He's getting very close to the goal, putting in shots he needs to. He can bring up the puck.
Games, I think.
Yeah, he can bring up the puck north to south really fast, which is my favorite aspect of his game. He's doing what he should be doing, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily an improvement. It's just expected. All right, you should be doing this. And I just think, again, we've talked about it. Like those second and fourth lines, the lack of identity, I think, does hurt the team a little bit. And they just have not found a good pairing to how Kent Johnson plays. He's not making those plays that he should be making. I'd like to see him get some chances to get in front of the goal more, and it's just not there. Maybe he's someone that would benefit from a change of scenery. I don't know. I mean, obviously, like,
you got to be real careful there.
But exactly.
I hear what you're saying, but you better be getting something really, really good back.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think they're going to give up on him. Like, I'm saying, like, obviously it would be a huge package if they ever considered that. I don't think they are, but I think it's all
fitted for right now. Like, for sure.
It's just someone that needs a better line mate. And I like what you're saying. I don't know who that is in the lineup right now, because it again, the lack of of late goal scoring was not great yesterday. And like, you would like to see, like, when they're kind of in those defensive ruts, like, where are they going to spark something, on the line? And I think if Kent Johnson could get going, that's someone that could do that. But
I would kind of like to see, him play with Fantilli and Marchenko. The problem there's two problems with that. One is he's not as fast as either one of those guys. So it'd be a little tougher for him to kind of keep up when they're on the rush and things like that, possibly. I mean, he's not super slow, but like those guys are really fast, and I don't think he's quite that quick. And then the other thing is, he and Marchenko both like playing the right side. Kent is on the offhand. He likes being like Patrick Kane and other playmakers, where he's on the offside. He's a left-hand shot on the right-hand side. He can open up. He can see the ice. And ideally, you'd like to – and so it would work if you moved Marchenko over to the left side, because he's got a right-hand shot with a one-timer,
unfortunately, though, Marchenko's playing so well where it's like you can't move him right now.
And I don't think he's a huge fan of playing on his offhand. So like, it just doesn't work that way. But ideally, that might be something that would maybe get Kent Johnson going. I don't know. They got to figure it out, though. He's been out for 2 games. I'll be interested to see if they play him tonight against the Nashville Predators, if he re-enters. I don't know if he will, because Rick Bowness seems to really like the way that Danton Heinen is playing. That's who came into the lineup when they took Kent Johnson out. Just he gave them all kinds of credit yesterday, in them being Monahan's line. It's Jenner, Monahan, and Heinen. They were pretty good last night. So we'll see what transpires with that. I'll quickly buzz through these next 3 topics as we're getting long here. Werenski, we'll have to see if he's going to play tonight. It's an illness, so I wouldn't say that I wouldn't rule him out just yet. We're going to find out in a little bit when I get there. Rick Bowness said during their little mini camp, during the Olympic break, that he really wanted to, if he could, scale back Werenski's minutes, because he plays 26, 27, 28 minutes a lot. And a lot of times that's how you end up getting injuries. You play a lot, guys are tired, even when they don't think they're tired, kind of thing. He comes back, and in the first 2 games back, he plays 28 plus minutes in each game. So it just goes to show what you were just talking about. We won't belabor the point, but like, it goes to show that what you were talking about with Z, he's so important to this team. You want to take him off the ice just for him and let him like recharge and get his legs back, but you almost can't, because it's just you almost need to play him as much as possible.
Especially like the example last night is like, you don't want to play him yesterday. It's the Rangers. It's like, oh, they're not even trying. Well, this is a team that if they're not trying, they're not going to win either. Like, they have to, they need the energy, and Z provides some of that.
Yep. Bowness said that, like, he needed the urgency to be higher, especially from defensemen going back for pucks that get chipped over their heads.
That's what I got a lot from the quotes you pull. It is like, they do play softer when he's not on the ice as well. They're not fighting for pucks, and that's how they win these games. We've seen that in their whole win streak. That's what they were doing. So.
Yeah. I was going to briefly just kind of mention Elvis. I mean, he had a rough Olympics. We forgot to mention him in the Olympic thing.
Yeah. Shout out Elvis. He, that's some tough teams you got to play.
Oh my gosh. He ends up only playing 2 games for Latvia, and it's like the US and then Sweden in the playoff round. I I mean, you're going to have some issues there, no matter what goalie it is. And he ended up giving up a number of goals. So I remember I asked, Rick Bowness over the break, if he was concerned about the number of goals that Elvis gave up. Not that it was his fault, but more like goalies don't like giving up goals. Like it really can kind of mess with them mentally sometimes, no matter what extenuating circumstances might be surrounding that. And Rick Bowness basically said, he was like, yeah, I called him like right after the Olympics to basically say, hey, hang in there. You're going to be back here. And we're not going to play the kind of defense I just saw in a lot of those games. Basically, like we're not going to let cross crease passes go, unchecked and things like that. And then last night you look at the third period and the Rangers are all over the zone and they can't defend. So, Elvis is kind of hung out to dry again. I don't think it'll be an issue. I think that once they get their defensive issues ironed out again, just like they had them before the break, he's going to excel, and so is Jet Greaves.
Do we know who's in tonight?
I don't know. I mean, I would assume it's Greaves since it's a back-to-back,
Yeah.
And Elvis was last night, so they'll probably go with Greaves. That's what I'm expecting anyway. And then the last Blue Jackets topic on this one, as we're buzzing through on their return, struggle to score goals. Like this is what got them in now. And I'll just quickly go through this. To me, they lost the Islanders game like two ways. One was just a bunch of lucky bounces for the Islanders. They got a ton of lucky bounces. I don't know what you do about that. Like it's just, somebody has a horseshoe stuck, where and hidden somewhere on their person. And for the Islanders, and everything is going in for them right now. But the bigger issue to me was you're dominating that game. It's 2-0. There's a stretch in the second period where it's 2-0. There's a 5-minute stretch where the Blue Jackets, I don't know, I've rarely seen them as dominant as they were in this 5-minute stretch. They're all over.
It was insane.
They're all over the zone, all over the net. They outshoot the Islanders 11-1 in that stretch and get 0 goals out of it. You have to figure out how to score a goal there, at least one.
Yeah.
I mean, you make it 3-0, maybe even 4-0. Now we just saw they blew a 4-0 lead last night, but give yourself the best opportunity to win and capitalize. And I feel like this has been an issue for this team this year too often, where they dominate stretches and they just don't beat the goalie. And in fairness, some of it's luck, like they're hitting posts or, they don't get the same kind of puck luck other teams are getting. They certainly aren't getting as many. I forgot to write this one down. They're not getting the power plays. They only got one.
That's been the talk of the Blue Jackets media circuit between you, Porty, and A-Race is the lack of power plays. Which obviously has been a conversation for decades or years. So
it is. They're dead last in the league in like the last 5 years. It's very puzzling, I guess you'd say that, without making any kind of other outlandish statements. But anyway, they work uphill when it goes to power play. All right, trade deadline. Trade deadline's coming up on Friday, 3 p.m. Friday. Tonight's game against Nashville is going to be huge. And if they win that game, here's the way I look at it. I think if they win this game against Nashville tonight, they move within which they could. They win. They move. Well, it depends on if Boston. I haven't looked to see whether Boston is playing.
Yeah, let me see.
But if they can move within a point of Boston, I would be shocked if Don Waddell trades, his UFA players. The pending UFA players at the deadline. I mean, they have some pending UFAs who would be really, enticing for other GMs if they were available. Charlie Coyle, Mason Marchment, Boone Jenner. These are all type of players that teams would love to add for playoff runs. But they're here already. And, Don Waddell told me over the break that he's looking at those guys potentially as their own rentals. Like they don't have to go make rental trades because they've already got the guys here.
Right.
And, but if they lose to Nashville, and let's say they lose again, on Thursday, a day before the deadline to Utah, I believe it's Utah, I think you might see a guy or two get traded potentially, I mean, they're going to have to make some really, really tough calls at the deadline as to whether they hang on to their UFAs or trade them and get some assets for them. You know, and then try and rework the roster for next year. Because if you're trading your UFAs right now at the deadline, to me, that's basically raising the white flag. You know, like it just like, okay, it's probably not going to work out this season. We're going to do what we can with what's left, but we need to get some assets for these guys.
Yeah.
If they win though, I mean, so that it's just crazy how like 2 games, it comes down to 2 games that are this important for the trade.
Other thing you have to know that they must have like a target number of like point differential. Like, all right, if we're in this number, we'll go. If not, we gotta like really make a decision. Just looking at obviously, so the Blue Jackets game tonight against the Predators, Penguins versus Bruins. So Sidney Crosby list Penguins versus Bruins at home in Boston. So that's, I mean,
it's kind of a toss-up.
Probably favoring the Bruins, I would say. Just because of the injury, and obviously the Bruins are playing good hockey right now. Tomorrow the Islanders play the Ducks. I mean, I know they're not necessarily, the Islanders are a little higher up, I think, in points right now.
They are. I think they're back down to 7, but they had climbed to like 9, I think, before the Jackets won last night.
So we're just focusing on those 2 teams, which are the teams they are really like chasing. Islanders who are on a 5-game win streak and playing unbelievable hockey out of the break. They play the Ducks tomorrow at 10, and then Thursday the Bruins play the Predators on the road. So and those are the games you got to circle, I think, right? I mean, and then the Blue Jackets don't play till Saturday, or do they play? Oh, sorry, they play Thursday, right, against the Panthers. So
so Thursday, right, okay.
So Panthers obviously like. Yeah, I don't
know what to make out of them because like they still have a ton of talent and experience, but they are way out of it right now.
Yeah, so maybe that's good for them. I think the funniest thing in this whole situation is the Blue Jackets currently are the only team in the NHL with a goal differential of 0. They're dead on March 3rd. Every other team has either a +1 or greater, or -1 or less.
They don't like Christmas. The other teams are green or red, and they don't like Christmas.
No,
they're a solid 0. They're like people in Switzerland. Although
still 8-1-1 in their last 10.
That's right. Yeah, well, right, and I should say people in Switzerland do like Christmas. So
yes,
don't come at me there. But okay, so I don't know. We'll find out whether they're going to be sellers, buyers, stand pat. My guess is probably going to be stand pat is probably the odds-on favorite of those 3 options. But like again, if they lose both these games, it could change.
If it's a big monumental shift, we might have to call for an emergency pod.
Maybe
over the weekend or Friday. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
All right, we're gonna wrap this one up here, Backy.
Yes.
Okay, and we're doing goal or no goal again.
Yes.
Just like we did last time. 3 questions this time. We'll start off with you on this one. I'll ask you the Blue Jackets. We're gonna make statements. We're gonna say goal or no goal. Goal, yes. No goal, no. The Blue Jackets will still be in realistic playoff contention when April arrives. Dan, goal or no goal?
The call on the ice stands. We gotta go.
Wow. Okay.
I think I can't imagine right now. Like it would just hurt to imagine. Honestly, I don't know if I'm even leaning one way or the other. I kind of feel like their goal differential. It's just so hard to imagine them not come out of this week with like the roster that they have and the win streak that they put in and the players that they have right now and just Zach Werenski having him in general. Like it just is very hard to imagine them not try. And if they do sell, they better commit, they better go full sell. And I guess they'll find out literally by Thursday if they're going to do that. I think they have what it takes. Can they make a deep playoff run? I think that's another question I don't want to answer right now because of how they've lost a lot of these games. But what I did see in that 7-game win streak for me, with how well the goalie tandem was playing, for where the offense was coming from, that was enough for me to say I think this team could make the playoffs.
Okay. I will go with myself for this question here, and I'm going to say good goal.
Okay.
Reviewing the play, the call on the ice stands. We gotta go.
Nice. Boom.
And the reason I'm going with this one, all those same reasons that you mentioned as well. I also just think that there is, I do believe in the guys in this locker room as far as their chemistry, just how much they do play for each other. And as much as they struggle in these third periods and they look like they're running around with their heads cut off, I think they're going to figure it out. I think that, with working with Rick Bowness, going back over more film, just getting more experience in this, I think they will figure it out. And I do think they are going to at least be in the playoff conversation when April comes around.
Yeah.
As you said, I think the playoffs are too important. They got to make it, or they at least have to make another, bona fide run at it here down the stretch. And I think they know that. So I think they're definitely a driven, motivated team. And I do think they will be in position for playoff, or they'll be at least realistic contention when April comes around. Yeah. We're going to go to the next question here. Dan, the Blue Jackets will stand pat at the trade deadline. Goal or no goal?
They're not doing jack, you know what? That's because I don't see them adding. They don't have we know that they don't have the wherewithal to do that right now. It doesn't seem like. There are obviously, pieces, and they have to figure out where pieces go. Obviously, Ken Johnson is kind of the big one right now. Where does he fit on this team? But I just don't see them moving from these guys, Coyle and Jenner, Marchment. Like, I just don't see them moving from these guys. This is like a core integral part of their identity right now, right? Like Jenner, obviously, as like a leader, and Marchment has been like kind of the one that's been hot lately, or at least when they were playing well. If they moved Marchment, it's waving the white flag like no other business. No, like no one. I just
essentially traded Chinnikov to get him in different deals.
Right. Which is like, I just don't see that. And like if they make a move, I like to sell. Like I just think and give up, which I don't. Again, it's just hard for me to imagine. I just feel like it sets the franchise back so much. And like, where does that put you next year? Like, are you trying to make the playoffs next year? Are you rebuilding for another year? And I just can't see that right now. I think they just got to work with what they got and kind of reset it come off season with wherever they are at. So,
all right, same question for me, and I'm gonna say, no goal.
Okay. Wow.
No goals.
I like it. Okay, let's hear.
Well, and this is going to be a twist on this one too, because you're thinking that what I'm thinking is they're going to trade people away.
Do you think they're going to add?
I think they may actually add. It won't be anything huge, like
addition by subtraction.
Yeah, it won't be like some big, blockbuster move. But like if you looked at what Don Waddell did last year at the deadline, he added through waivers and then one small trade, Luke Cunnin and Christian Fisher, who are basically his depth forwards. I could potentially see them, if the price is right, and we'll see if it is or not, I could see them going after somebody like a Nick Foligno, perhaps, the former captain of the Blue Jackets, beloved figure around here. Okay. He would be a perfect addition to this locker room. He would add depth. He would add leadership.
Yeah.
Most of the team knows him already, or a lot of the team knows him and just loves the guy. He lives in Columbus, he's building a new house here and everything. So
sweet.
I could see them maybe making a run at him if the price isn't too high, or somebody like that, like a depth type of situation, just to kind of, bolster yourself for the playoff run and then the playoffs themselves. So I'm going to say they seek something out. And they find something to do, and so it won't be standing pat. All right, last one, and this is a fun one, I think.
Yes.
Dan, Megan Keller's golden goal for the U.S. women's team was better than Jack Hughes's goal for the men. Goal or no goal?
It's better. Now, maybe not the grand significance of it, right? I think let's make this clear. So obviously that goal, the Jack Hughes goal, 46 years. Like, wow, holy moly, the significance behind that, crazy. But in the moment, there are a few elements to this. The dangle, which was just absolutely brilliant.
Sick.
The call, I thought Kenny Albert's call was better on that goal than it was the Jack. He went, "Oh, nice move," which was perfectly timed.
Yep.
And then the pictures afterwards, I forget the photographer's name. Damn it. But the shot of Megan Keller with her stick in the air, it was like a portrait photo.
Yeah.
Her stick's going in the air in one hand, and the defender that Keller deked is just on the ground. And it's just like, that is the Olympics right there. Like, that is the Olympics. That was everything that happened in that game. You could sum up with that photo in that moment. And I was just wowed by the spectacle of that specific goal. Maybe the significance, obviously, in the end, like, the women have been successful before, but man, that moment for me was just like brilliant. So
yeah. All right. I am going to also go goal.
Yeah. It's funny because Werenski's involved in this other goal.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about his goals, or we talked about his goal earlier. And I mean, listen, this is not to take anything away from the men's goal. I did love the men's goal because of what I said earlier. All the different elements that had to come together to make that play. It was such a hockey play. It was awesome. I love that. But Megan Keller, as we were watching this game, I'm watching this game on my couch. She literally brought me out of my seat, like upright, and I was just like, "Whoa, what a move!" like that. And then for her to have the wherewithal to not just drag it past a very good defensive player, by the way, who's making a desperation attempt to keep her from making that move. She drags it around her, and then picks it up on the other side and has the wherewithal to tuck it, backhand inside the left post. Unbelievable move, unbelievable goal. And I did love the call by Albert as well. Just everything about that one was just, I mean, it sent chills
like the
down
collective country was like leaning back and then all set up when she made the move. Like it was like everyone had the same, and reactions I've seen, everyone had the same reactions. Like, oh my goodness, she just did that.
Well, it caught you by surprise too, because I was not expecting her to make that move to like be that aggressive and really try to like a toe drag there. Like, are you kidding me?
Brilliant.
And she did it and she pulled it off, and it was incredible. So
brilliant.
I'm going with that one as the better one. The U.S. one was fantastic. The men's one was fantastic as well.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give Keller the edge on this one. And Dan, that wraps up the Cannon Fodder podcast.
Yeah, clean 40 minutes. Just how we want. No, I think that was. I mean, there was a lot to talk about. Like look, the Blue Jackets have been in the news, whether Bill Simmons has seen it or not. They've been in the news, and this is going to be a contentious next few days. I am very excited to see.
Yep.
Honestly, if I was if I were a Blue Jackets fan, I would be so just like done with how this roller coaster has gone. But maybe it pays off. We'll see.
Well, you know what? At the very end, if it does pay off, it'll make it all even better and more worth it, I guess. They went through all these ups and downs, and then they came out on top. So, all right. Well, so for my good guy Backy over there, who looks like Marcus Nudavara, he's freshly repaired from upper body surgery. I'll call it upper head surgery,
nasal surgery, sinus surgery.
It's hockey though, Backy. We say upper body.
Okay, upper body, right? Yeah, gotta do the PR move.
Upper body medical procedure.
Yes.
And so I'm glad you had that. You're back, better than ever, and we'll see you next time on the Cannon Fodder podcast. See you guys.
Peace out.